Learn English through story. Silent Passions. In the quiet town of Willowbrook, nestled between the blue mountains and endless fields, there lived a woman named Nora Hayes. At 42, Nora had built a life of quiet contentment. She ran a small bookstore on Main Street, filled with shelves of well-worn novels and poetry collections, each chosen with care. She had her routines, her friends, her books. People in town admired her kindness and her knack for recommending just the right story to each reader. She had been married to her husband, Thomas, for nearly 20 years, and they had shared a life that most would call happy. Thomas was a gentle man, thoughtful and patient, the kind of partner who took pride in the simple life they had carved out together. Their marriage was a testament to companionship, to the comfortable rhythm of knowing each other's every thought and movement. They shared breakfasts, quiet evenings by the fire, and long walks through the fields. Their love was a quiet one, no grand declarations or passionate displays, but a deep-rooted companionship that felt endearing, solid as the mountains surrounding their town. But as years passed, a yearning began to stir in Nora, a feeling she couldn't quite put into words. It wasn't that she didn't love Thomas. In many ways, he was her best friend, the person she trusted most in the world. Yet there was a part of her that felt incomplete, as if she had silenced a part of herself over the years. The passions of her youth, her dreams of exploring the world, her love for poetry and art all had been set aside in the name of stability and comfort. She couldn't remember the last time she had written a poem, or felt that spark of creative joy that had once fueled her. This restlessness grew, a silent ache she carried with her, masked behind her kind smile and gentle words. She buried herself in the routines of her shop, in the comfort of familiar faces and daily tasks, hoping that the feeling would pass. But no amount of routine could quiet the longing that seemed to grow stronger with each passing year. Then one afternoon, everything changed. A new visitor arrived in Willowbrook, a man named Leo Marston. He was in his late 40s, a painter known for his work in the city, and he had come to Willowbrook seeking inspiration for his latest project. Leo was tall and charismatic, with an intense gaze and an easy charm that captivated everyone he met. He was the kind of man who drew attention without trying, whose mere presence seemed to fill a room. Leo wandered into Nora's bookstore on a rainy afternoon, his eyes scanning the shelves with the curiosity of someone who had spent a lifetime immersed in the arts. When Nora approached him, offering her help, their conversation flowed easily, a shared exchange of stories and ideas that felt effortless, natural. He spoke about his work, his travels, the way he saw the world through colors and textures, and Nora found herself drawn to him, captivated by his passion and his zest for life. As the days went on, Leo became a regular at the bookstore, spending hours browsing through the shelves and discussing literature and art with Nora. They shared a love for poetry, for stories that captured the human experience, and their conversations grew deeper with each passing day. Nora felt a spark she hadn't felt in years, a connection that went beyond words. In Leo, she saw a life that was free, unrestrained, a life that embraced the beauty and complexity of the world. They spent hours together, wandering through the fields, discussing art and philosophy, laughing at jokes only they seemed to understand. For the first time in years, Nora felt alive, as if a part of her soul had been reawakened. She found herself writing again, filling pages with words that poured from her heart, inspired by her conversations with Leo, by the emotions he stirred within her. But beneath the joy, there was a sense of guilt that haunted her. She loved Thomas, valued the life they had built together, the quiet companionship they shared. Yet, with Leo, she felt something she hadn't felt in years, a passion, a longing, a sense of freedom that made her question everything she had known. As her friendship with Leo deepened, the boundaries between them began to blur. There were moments when their conversations grew quieter, when their gazes lingered a bit too long, when a simple touch felt charged with unspoken desire. They never spoke of these feelings, never crossed any physical boundaries, but the tension between them grew, an unspoken understanding that hung in the air. One evening, after a particularly intense conversation, Leo looked at Nora, his eyes filled with a mixture of longing and sadness. He spoke softly, choosing his words carefully. "Nora, there's something between us, something I can't ignore. But I know you have a life here, a life that I don't want to disrupt. I respect what you have with Thomas, and I don't want to be the reason for any pain." His words hit her like a wave, a painful reminder of the choices she faced. She knew he was right, that her connection with Leo was a dangerous one that could unravel the life she had built with Thomas. But the thought of letting Leo go, of returning to a life that felt hollow and incomplete, filled her with despair. She spent the night lying awake, torn between her loyalty to Thomas and the undeniable connection she felt with Leo. She knew she had to make a choice, but each option felt impossible, each path filled with regret and longing. In the days that followed, she tried to distance herself from Leo, tried to focus on her life with Thomas, hoping that the feelings would fade. She went through the motions, sharing quiet dinners with Thomas, discussing their plans for the future, but her heart was elsewhere, lost in the memories of her conversations with Leo, the way he made her feel. One afternoon, as she sat alone in her bookstore, Leo walked in, his expression unreadable. He looked at her for a long moment before speaking, his voice filled with a quiet intensity. "Nora, I'm leaving Willowbrook. I can't stay here, knowing that we'll never be able to be together. I need to move on, to find a place where I can paint without this constant ache." His words shattered her, a painful reminder of the reality she had been avoiding. She felt a surge of desperation, a need to hold on to him, to keep him in her life, even if only as a friend. But she knew it was selfish, knew that keeping him close would only prolong the pain for both of them. They shared a final embrace, a quiet. As he walked away, Nora felt a piece of herself go with him, a piece she would never get back. She watched him disappear down the street, knowing that she would never see him again, that this chapter of her life had come to a painful end. In the weeks that followed, Nora tried to find solace in her routines, in the familiar comfort of her bookstore and her life with Thomas. She poured herself into her work, into her friendships, trying to fill the void Leo had left behind. But the ache remained, a quiet reminder of the passion she had tasted and lost. She returned to her writing, using it as a way to process her feelings, to understand the depth of her desires and the choices she had made. She wrote about love and loss, about the beauty and pain of human connections, about the silent passions that linger within us, shaping our lives in ways we don't always understand. Through her writing, Nora found a sense of healing, a way to make peace with her choices and the life she had chosen. She came to understand that her connection with Leo had been a gift, a moment of clarity that had shown her the depth of her own desires, the parts of herself she had silenced over the years. She realized that while she could never have the life she had imagined with Leo, she could still carry the lessons he had taught her, could still embrace her passions and live with a sense of authenticity and purpose. In time, she and Thomas found a new rhythm, a way to move forward together, shaped by the lessons of their past. Nora never spoke to him about Leo, never shared the depth of the emotions she had felt. It was a secret she carried within her, a silent passion that remained hidden, a reminder of the complexities of love and the choices we make. Nora's story became a quiet testament to the power of self-awareness, of understanding one's own desires and the ways they shape our lives. She had tasted the thrill of forbidden passion, had faced the ache of unfulfilled longing, and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more at peace. Though she would always carry the memory of her time with Leo, she found a sense of fulfillment in the life she had chosen, a quiet joy in the companionship she shared with Thomas, in the small moments of beauty that filled her days. Her story was a reminder of the silent passions that linger within each of us, the desires we often keep hidden, but that shape our lives in ways we don't always see. And though she had chosen a path of loyalty and stability, she had learned to embrace the fullness of her own heart, to live with a sense of authenticity and purpose that allowed her to find peace, even in the face of unfulfilled desires. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoy, then please like and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel.